Thursday. Lose track sometimes. It's good.
Once you took over the play calling a little bit for kind of helping him break through, just kind of talk about the ways that you've continued some of the things you did last year creatively and keeping him engaged in the way that you have.
I would just say, just from my personal history, I've been around a lot of really good coaches that have highlighted that slot receiver position. Dating back to Miami, we drafted Jarvis Landry, and he ended up, I want to say, his first 4 years in the league, he ended up leading the league in receptions. Like, it was historical how many catches he caught his first 4 years in the NFL. So that position in particular is one that I'm fond of, just because you can be creative in the ways that you get them the ball. I think it's really hard to eliminate a slot receiver from a game plan. And then when you have a guy as talented as Saint, it really opens a lot of windows and opportunities for directions we can go. So it's really a testament to him, because he's such a smart player that we can put him and experiment with things that he's never tried before necessarily, and yet he can still apply it on the first try. So it's pretty cool to see.
I know you were coaching tight ends last year. How much of Amon-Ra did you watch when he was in college?
No, honestly, my first tape of him was after we drafted him. I turned him on, his USC film, and I turned him on. And if I remember correctly, he was playing a little bit more outside for them. And so it was a little bit harder of a projection to see what type of slot player he's become, or he would become. But he certainly has taken off, since the strides he's made since his rookie year spring to even training camp his rookie year to where he's at now. I mean, it's a lot of growth.
Any blocks from Amon-Ra stand out? What did you see on the tape from Amon-Ra as a blocker at USC?
Yeah, I think honestly, because that's who he was as a player, and he takes that seriously for his room. And those guys, they champion the flag for it. I go back, even this year, they're all of them. DJ, Josh, Saint, of course. Leaf showed up last year a ton. He showed up this year already, digging guys out. But I go back to the preseason, and that Pittsburgh game didn't go the way our starters wanted to go. And she was about 10 plays in. Saint is just fed up with it, and he ends up taking the nickel and just pancakes him, because he wants to positively impact the game. And so these wideouts, whether they're catching the ball or they're blocking, they just want to help out their team, and it's been fun. I don't think I've been around a more selfless group from that perspective.
Why is it more difficult to take the slot out than another receiver spot?
I don't know. You'd have to talk to a defensive coach about that, but I think primarily it's more third down that they're looking to maybe take that position out. But first and second down, I feel like they're more worried about the run maybe or something of that nature. So.
And when did you have a lot of confidence or belief or whatever it might be that you knew you could call the plays for this offense? When did that first happen?
I mean, I think probably everybody that's played quarterback at some level, probably thinks that they could at some point call plays. Honestly, I talked to Tim Boyle right now, and I think whenever he decides to hang the cleats up, he's going to become a coach. Just like David Blau was the same way when he was here. Those guys, you can already see that they want to be potential play callers down the road. So for me, it was always something in the back of my head I'd love the opportunity to do. I don't know per se there's anything that makes me any more special than any other coordinator out there or play caller out there. Honestly, it's just right now I'm blessed to be surrounded by some really good coaches and some really good players, so that helps us have success on offense.
And what this offense is doing right now, it's early, but has it exceeded your expectations even?
Not really, no. If anything, the first 2 weeks have shown us how far we have left to go. We're not. I don't think anybody right now in that room's necessarily happy or pleased with what we put on tape so far. There's certainly been some encouraging things, but we're not hitting our stride. We're not clicking on all cylinders. Whatever cliche you want to use, but these I think these guys all understand that we got some big grass to go here before we're really where we need to be.
That's a big statement for the number 2 offense in the NFL.
Gosh, it's 2 weeks in. I mean, it's yeah, we come back after a game, we don't score. You know, you guys are all turning on us. So I mean, that's the nature of the beast. Not you guys, but fans and everything. So no, we've scored some points here the first 2 weeks. We need to continue to do that. Continue to attack defenses, and these guys, they're bought in, they're believing in what we're doing. We just got to continue to improve every week.
You mentioned David. It's certainly not unique in the NFL that a guy goes to another squad and is debriefed, if you will.
Yeah.
How much can he really give away about what you guys do offensively? Is there anything you need to switch up in terms of verbiage this week to kind of keep the opponent off balance?
We're like every other team in this league. Everyone steals plays from each other. So I don't think anything we're doing is necessarily revolutionary. There are some things that David might know situationally about us that, all right, well, we also know what he knows. So we are calculated in how we respond to that. But, yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that we'll address. Other than that, though, like, once again, we're not going to overthink things from that regard.
One thing, Taylor mentioned this the other day, that smelling some blood in the water in the first half of that game, but not putting them away when you could. I don't know if that's an area, finishing maybe an area of focus, or you just chalk some of that up that, hey, that's a good team and they make some plays too.
Yeah, no, I think every team in this league's good, and that's the first thing I said to those guys on Monday was, it's hard to win. It's hard to win in this league, point blank. It doesn't matter who you are, so never apologize for that. But when we're not hitting our expectations or our standards, we have to be accountable to that, as coaches and as players. So, yeah, we had opportunity. I just highlight the 2 minute before half. We ended up with 2 drops and a missed deep ball. Yeah, that's very disappointing, because regardless of the score, those are plays we can and should make. So.
You guys averaging almost 4 yards per carry before contact. It's number 1 in the league. How are you guys doing that, I guess? I mean, is there a way you can explain you guys leading the league and that kind of thing?
We have really good linemen. That certainly helps. We have a really good offensive line coach. I think our backs, our receivers, our tight ends, they all are on the same page with how we want to attack a defense. So I think it's a combination of all that right now. I think at some point, our passing game needs to catch up to where our running game's at, so that we have a good complement to it. So.
Jeremy called this a measuring stick game for his defense trying to shut down Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. I wonder, I think on the flip side for you guys, I think Minnesota's only given up maybe 31 points through 2 weeks. Do you sort of see this in the same way for your offense?
Yeah, I see it less about points. I see it more about how do we handle a challenging environment. We haven't had this yet this season. Go into a loud indoor stadium. We're going to have some adversity. I have no doubt our guys will fight through any adversity that we see, but at the same time, this is going to be a big communication game for us. We all have to be on the same page if we want to see success on the field. So I think less so for points than anything. We need to see these guys come together, rally behind each other. Don't go too low when we hit some valleys. Don't go too high when we do some good things, and just stay steady and take it as it comes.
Ben, they're in nickel personnel in cover 2, maybe more than anyone in the league. I'm just curious, are these hallmarks of what Donatell does, or is he fitting his personnel a little bit more schematically this year than maybe he has in the past?
No, I think it really stems back to the whole Fangio tree, which I would say Donatell comes from. They've spent a significant time together, and they all want to start and shell defense. And whether they rotate down or not, remains to be seen post-snap. But I do think that is a philosophy that he adheres by. Will we see more single high this week? We'll see. It's only 2 weeks in. So what they put on tape so far, the first 2 weeks, we may not see, because Green Bay and Philadelphia's offenses are completely different than ours. So we're aware of that. But we, obviously we look at everything from his career as we're developing the plan.
You guys have had some drops from the receiving core, maybe uncharacteristically with some of those guys. Like when you look at their history, how do you explain maybe why that's popped up the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, we don't. We talk about the fundamentals constantly. That was really our big emphasis in the springtime, whether it's blocking, whether it's run after catch, whether it's catching the football, simple things that you would think are elementary. They're really, really important for us. And that's the one area right now that we've fallen a little bit short. And having coached receivers, I don't know that the answer is necessarily to highlight it and make it bigger than all these guys want to catch the ball. Right, and I think it's for different reasons. To me, it always goes back to where your eyes. You catch the ball with your eyes before you do it with your hands. So it's something we talk about. I've just encouraged them, hey, everyone needs to be catching 50 more balls a day, whether it's on the jugs, from the quarterbacks, from your position coach. Let's just continue to work through it. And, I think it'll come around. It normally works the kinks out as we go, and it generally hasn't been a problem in my career.
You say you want to see the passing game catch up to the running game. I wonder, what is that? Is it normal? Is it common that the passing game sort of lags behind the rushing attack, or why do you think it is that you're having more success with one than the other?
I would just say right now we're just lacking in some details, whether it's a particular split, particular depth. I got to look at myself. Are we teaching it right as coaches right now? Is it too much volume? Like, those are things that we're kind of addressing to see how we can make sure we're accelerating the process. But the good news is, like, last week we were better in the passing game than we were the first week, and we're looking to make another step here this week.
Maybe one of those areas of improvement you're looking for is the 3 and outs. You guys have
No
the
doubt.
highest 3 and out rate.
Yep.
What do you attribute to that? And I guess how big of an issue is it when you're still putting up as many points as you are?
I think it's a huge issue, and I would say just when you look at the big picture of the game, that first game, the way our 3 and outs came about, back to back to back, that did no favors to our defense, and really put us in a hole early. This last game, they were kind of staggered more around the halftime area, and so at least our defense didn't feel the effects of the momentum quite as much, and having to be on the field and get drowned out. But it's certainly the onus for me, at least, is those 1st and 10 calls, the drive starter calls. Those need to be efficient plays for us. Whatever direction we go, run, pass, we need efficient plays. As long as we get the first down, we feel really good about our chances of going down the field. But you're right. That's been our Achilles heel so far, is just being able to get that first down within a series.
Justin kind of alluded to it, but what jumps out of that defense? Obviously, you did the scheme 3-4.
Shoot.
We're so used to the double A gap,
Yeah.
Zimmer defense. I'm just curious what jumped out to you.
Yeah, I think on the back end they're similar, not the same, but they are similar. What stuck out to me the first 2 games was 55 and 99, those 2 edge guys, and their ability to wreak havoc all across the field, whether it's on the edge but also in the interior. They'll come inside over the center and guards on 3rd down, and it's a major issue. Those guys are game changers, and we got to account for them.